Hello, I'm Kathy Jansen. I'm your instructor for CSCI 2250 Java Programming. It's 4 semester credits, and we'll be working together as a class this semester. So thank you for registering and looking forward to working with each of you. We're going to move to D2L. Logging in with your star ID. And choosing from the center column your course. We are at what we call the home page of our course 2250 Java Programming. There's news for you to always be reading and staying up with as any announcements take place. I'll post in this area at the course homepage. Be sure to read your welcome announcement also as you get a chance. Content, that's where I publish materials for you, due dates, assignments, activities, information. And as we look at the structure of the course, in our table of contents, we have student resources, your lesson plan, Unit 1, Unit 2, and so on. So in student resources, as we get started, the suggested due dates are listed there. As you may want to work ahead, that is just fine. Do so. Just don't get behind where I'm at in making assignments as I'm walking through the course, through the lecture process. There are 4 computers reserved on the Worthington campus library for Java programmers. Try to make your appointment in advance. It just helps them reserve the equipment for you. Contact the help desk at minwest.edu to do that. Course outline, you can read through that, and the course syllabus, we'll look at that. Again, this is under student resources. Let's click download, and we'll read that as a PDF. This is a 4-credit course. Please contact me via my email address, and note that it's kathy.jansen@minwest.edu. Instructors do not carry the .live .live at minwest.edu as you do, as students do. Objectives, the topics to be covered are actually the first 8 chapters in the book. This book does serve you for 2250 and 2255, Java 1 and Java 2. You will need to buy a new textbook as you get access to the required course code for online materials, and you should be using backup USB memory key. Make sure that you are checking your .live account frequently, as that's how I communicate with you. We'll have your announced tests, that's end of chapter tests, your midterm final exams. Chapter ending exercises are assigned, and there's a major coding project at the end of each chapter, along with some coding activities that you simply copy and compile and submit. Coding projects from scratch, work with others, team with others in the class, try to contribute, of course, and do your own work. If you just simply cannot seem to have success in writing a particular program, you may ask from me for a partial solution version of the assignment. Once you ask, you've been reduced to an 80%, that's a B, as a highest score for that assignment. But sometimes, time permitting, you need to move ahead, and that's a way to move ahead and still get a high score. There may be some discussions now that we have a full class, so look for that as I move through the material with you. An A is 90 to 100, a B is 80 to 90, a C is 65 to 80, and a D is 55 to 65. Below is an F, and don't let that happen to your transcript. Be in touch with me. Lecture, projects, assignments, everything's known in advance. There's no spontaneous or surprises. Just note that I like to have a midterm cutoff, so we'll be trying to make sure that everyone gets their homework submitted by midterm, and that will resolve itself then at midterm to a midterm grade. Anything not turned in at midterm would render a 0. Otherwise, you have a chance to catch up and get it caught up at a penalty, but still better than a 0. And then starting after midterm, we start over, and there'll be a cutoff, of course, at the end of the semester where all materials, if you have late materials, you have a chance to turn them in for late penalty, but better than a 0. Please read the syllabus thoroughly as you get time to do so. And then we need to begin to talk about customizing your device for use with the Java compiler and editor. So step number 1, we're going to register for the video notes companion site. You're going to find the access on the inside cover of your new textbook. Complete the 6-step directions to register and set up your profile. And you need to only register once. After that, you're going to log in with your new username and password. So we're going to go to this site, www.pearsonhighered.com/Ditel. Ditel is the author of the textbook. And after you log in with your companion credentials, choose from the list of pictured textbooks our textbook, which is Java How to Program 10th edition. Once you do that, you'll see the online materials supported for our textbook, and video notes is one of those. We want to click on the video notes. And here we'll find a list of videos. The first 3 items are an intro to NetBeans, an intro to Eclipse, and an intro to IntelliJ. We are using NetBeans for our co-compiler, so we'll want to pay particular attention to these 4 videos. So I would suggest that you look at these 4 videos and observe, follow along. There's nothing to really do yet because we haven't got NetBeans installed, but this is your source to go back and step through some of these problem directions as we begin to create our own projects from scratch and maybe use existing code. So getting started, getting acquainted with NetBeans is something we want to do through the Video Companion website. As we're moving ahead, you'll see that there's a video for Chapter 1, 2, 3, and so on. So continuing to set up and configure our device for use for this class. Step number 2, how to set up NetBeans. Again, here's your videos. And when we're setting up NetBeans, we want to use the tabs and configure the line numbers. Again, this is information. You can come back to this once we install the Java NetBeans co-bundle. So a couple places to make sure you get things set up correctly. And then student directions to install Java NetBeans co-compiler. I want to scroll down and then download this to open with Adobe. and go to this site and choose the NetBeans Java NetBeans co-bundle and install that on your device. Accept the license. And then choose the Windows platform or the platform you're using. After complete installation, accepting default prompts, you can open NetBeans, and from the Start menu, all programs find NetBeans, and click to open the drop-down menu. Right-click to highlight NetBeans, and select Pin to your taskbar. And at that point, you will see an icon similar to what I'm kind of highlighting in my taskbar for easy access. And then the next step is to open NetBeans and set your line numbers to customize to the display followed in your textbook, and to set spacing to 3 as demonstrated in the video notes. So now it's time to go back to our video notes companion website. And for the NetBeans editor, we'd want to watch Getting NetBeans, opening the developer editor, and configuring your tabs and your line numbers. And I'll just show you quickly with NetBeans. Once installed, open, as we said, configure your taskbar icon, and then close this start page. That always comes up, it's informational. Close that start page. And then from view, make sure that you select show line numbers. If it's not checked, be sure to check it. Show line numbers. And then from tools, options, we're going to configure our editor. So choose editor from the button bar. We want to work with our editor in formatting, so choose formatting. Make sure it says for all languages, the category, tab, and indents. The number of spaces per indent, you want to set that to 3. If it's something other than 3, set that to 3. And set the tab size to 3. If it's something other than 3, set that to 3. And say apply if necessary, and say OK. This becomes our editor, and we'll work more in that as we develop our own programs. File, exit. Exit. Be sure to log out of any secure materials, to log out of your personal account. And we're back at the startup for Java programming. So these are the activities for within student resources that are necessary for you to get your device installed and customized for use for our first programs. I want to point out that there's a quality control checklist. Read through that. It tells you how I would like your programming assignments to be turned in so that you receive full credit with respect to labeling, and in programming assignments with respect to beginning documentation. So labeling is step number 1. Step number 2, programming assignment, beginning documentation, and then submitting a program information and a screenshot. Now, if you don't know how to capture your screen or have not taken a screenshot with your device, please contact our help desk at minwest.edu to troubleshoot that procedure on your particular device. Also, under our student resources, There's a program rubric. This is how I grade your programs. So I'll be looking at your program design, the program documentation, your required documentation, which I showed you where that's information's labeled, and internal remarks that are meaningful and specific to a particular program. Your readability for your overall program design, and program correctness. So those are sections A, B, C, and D, and all programs carry 16 points generated to 100% computation as I evaluate on your D2L gradebook. Discussion rubric, as discussions are assigned, I will discuss the discussion rubric with you. And just a heads up for your very first program, which I think comes in Chapter 2, program development from scratch, you will need to use scratch paper. So here's some scratch paper for you to print if you care to do so. All right, then Unit 1. Unit 1, we need to download examples. These are example programs from the textbook. So to do that, we're going to look at code examples, and we want to download those for our textbook. So go to the offered website and pull down. You should be looking at a front cover of our textbook. And as I scroll down, you'll see download code examples. Download code examples. And we do want to save that. And that will save it as an examples.zip. And we want to open that, but this is our zip folder, so we're going to want to copy, and I'm just doing a Control A to copy all of these files, and we want to copy them to a folder on your C root, called examples. And to follow along with the directions for the book and how to access, we want to create a new folder named examples, and then Control V as in Victor, to move or paste all of those examples. And that does give you all the examples for the textbook. Now I'm just going to open Chapter 2 to show you. We have figure examples. As we walk through the chapter, the author will be dissecting the code with you. And you'll have these figures where you can open and actually observe the code of the particular file in the textbook. So download the code examples. That's figure by figure within the textbook, chapter by chapter. Unzip to an examples folder on your C root drive. And that should take care of setup, installation, and customization for your course. Lesson number 1, you can get started on that right away. Lesson number 1 gives us some startup notice information. Print this lesson, read, study, and do. So oftentimes I go ahead and download it, open with the reader, and if necessary I'll print this, but then I can begin to check off the things that I need to do. step by step as assigned within this Unit 1 document. And Unit 1, we are reading Chapter 1. And in Word, we're going to supply our answers only to selected exercises at the end of the chapter. They're noted. Be sure to, as required, label your Word exercise homework according to the quality control list published in your D2L content student resources, and then upload to the proper D2L Dropbox. There's no shared sample code with you. Sometimes I share a partial code to emphasize. None this time, not available. There's no programming project assignment for Chapter 1, so you can move ahead. You're doing exercises. You're reading Chapter 1, doing exercises at the end of the chapter, and then complete the chapter test. And the chapter test is found at D2L Quizzes. And you always have 2 attempts. The higher score will be posted. So your chapter tests always have 2 attempts. The higher score is posted. Obviously, all open book, open notes, internet access, and so on. So from our startup content, we've moved through student resources, which particularly pays attention to the course, the requirements, the overall requirements, and ways to customize your device for use with this class. And Unit 1, how to download the code examples that are discussed by the author in videos throughout the text. And just assigning Chapter 1, it's a read, do the exercises, fill in the blank, type true false at the end of the chapter, and upload to your Dropbox, and complete the chapter quiz, which is found at Quizzes from your D2L main menu. Thank you, and I'll continue to produce video lectures as we move through the course content. Thank you, and we'll chat soon. Remember that my email address is our preferred way of communication. Thank you.